to Angie.
All right, well, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. We're gonna talk about our challenges for last week. The first challenge was to remove any unhealthy foods from your home, candy, soda, chips, etc. Challenge 2 was to pick out healthy food that you currently have in your home and talk with your children about that. And challenge 3 was to look at food labels while shopping and notice the 5 ingredients to avoid. So who was able or to at least pick one of those challenges and complete it? Can someone share?
I did. I started to this to like I made like soup and I put like squash, carrots, potatoes, corn, string beans, and actually liked it.
Awesome. Yay, congratulations. I'm so glad that worked out. That's great. Awesome. Did you talk about the food with them while they were eating or you just gave it to them and crossed your fingers?
No, I did. I told them if they're eating their vegetables and it grow stronger and their brains will get much smarter.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Awesome. Keep trying, keep adding new foods. Awesome. And we're going to talk about that today too. Anybody else want to share who was able to do the challenges or if anybody ran into any obstacles or challenges that it didn't work? We'll talk about the positive and the negative. Nope. All right, well, congratulations. I'm glad that it worked out for you. We're going to go to the next slide, and you might recognize it because it was one of the slides from our previous workshops. Mindful eating. We're going to look at handout number 1, section A, strategies for healthy eating, which reminds us about the role models both the child and the parent have in feeding that we've talked about in the past. Handout 1 also goes over the common eating concerns, which we'll get to, and we're going to talk about how to deal with picky eaters. So remember, parents, you are in control of serving the healthy foods and developing healthy eating habits for your family. Responsive eating or feeding also creates healthy eating environments because you respond to your child's hunger and fullness cues. Remember, when feeding, provide healthy foods and allow them to control the amounts that they eat. And remember, our motto is parent provides and child decides. Okay. Mindful eating is one of the best ways to achieve healthy eating habits. So that's just a review. Go to the next slide, and our common eating, we're going to talk about common eating concerns, how to deal with specific concerns, such as picky eaters. So look at your table in your handout, section 1, or handout 1, section B. The first and most common concern we hear is my child eats very little or no vegetables. On the right side of the table, you will see some of the best strategies to deal with the situation. Let's talk through these common concerns. Question 1 is about the vegetables or if they only eat one kind of food. And I was going to give an example of that. I think that my son ate chicken nuggets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for probably 2 years. And that was okay because he was eating. So remember, it often takes 10 to 15 exposures or sometimes more for a new food for children to really want to try or like something different. Continuously buy, cook, and offer vegetables, regardless of whether your child is eating them or not. These are the same foods that you as parents should be eating too. So remember, we have to model for our children. If they see us eating them, they're going to want to eat them. Try family style meals. And do not cook special meals for your child. If they don't eat what you make at that time, you can wrap it up, save it for later, or you can eat it yourself. You don't want it to go to waste, but don't make separate meals for them. Encourage them to eat what you've cooked. Offer new foods at the beginning of a meal when your child is the hungriest. And remember, parent provides and child decides. In addition to repeating healthy food, offer new foods with food they like. For example, if they like yogurt, offer a new fresh fruit topping like strawberries or blueberries. They're more likely to try a new food if you've introduced it with a food that they already enjoy. It's normal for children to want to eat one kind of food at this age. Don't force or pressure other foods. Don't use food as a reward for good behavior. And in the same way, don't restrict sweets or other treats as punishment for bad behavior. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide. Number 2, what can you do if your child is eating too much or too little? Remember that screen time is a distraction, and that includes televisions, smartphones, electronics, video games, tablets. Also, toys and games at the table are distractions. Children need to learn to follow their body's hunger and fullness cues so they don't eat too much. Cut up fruit and vegetables and other healthy foods. Have them always available in the home and ready to serve when they get home from school. Keep them on the counter or at the child's eye level in the refrigerator or pantry so that they can see them and easily reach them. And remember, getting rid of unhealthy foods in your home is an important tip. Children will often prefer the unhealthy food over the healthy food if it's available to them. And do allow limited access to unhealthy foods at special occasions, such as family gatherings, to avoid that creating the forbidden food. Making foods forbidden can make children eat more when they get a chance. And if a family member gives your child unhealthy food or snacks, allow the child to only have a small portion of it and then throw the rest of them away. Remember to share your handouts with your family members and encourage a healthy eating environment for everyone. So everybody's on the same page. All right, go to the next slide, number 3. So what can you do if your child doesn't eat what you serve and wants something else? Children are more likely to eat something that they've helped prepare. Children can help stir, pour, mix, wash, measure, and mash. Try eating the family style, sitting at a table, having the food on the table and serving themselves. And again, don't cook special meals for them. If they don't eat what you cook, then you can save it for next time, put it away. They can eat it later if they're hungry. In addition to repeating healthy foods, offer new foods with foods they already like. They're more likely to try a new food if it's introduced next to something that they already like. Number 4. What could you do if your child eats cookies and chips when you're not looking? Prepare healthy snacks ahead of time and have it available on lower shelves in the refrigerator and pantry. So they're not going to eat it if it's not there. So don't have it in the house, then they can't eat it. Have the healthy food ready to go. You can also have healthy dips like low-fat yogurt to eat with fruits and hummus to eat with vegetables. Make sure that you chop up those fruits and vegetables and have them ready at their eye level and easy to grab so they don't go for the bad stuff. Is there any other concerns besides these concerns that we've talked about that you guys have concerning food? Anybody have any other issues that they're concerned about? Nope. All right, well, we're going to move on to the next slide then. It's called Phases that Help and Hinder. And you're going to see this on your handout as well. Let's see what page it's on. I'm not positive. Top here. Handout number 2. So keep what you say positive. Use phrases that help when talking to your child about food. Avoid phrases that hinder or don't help. So on the chart on your handout, you can see in row 1, phrases that hinder, eat that for me, or if you do not eat one more bite, I will be mad. Okay, so in this example, the hinder phrases teach your children to eat for your approval and love. This can lead to unhealthy eating behaviors, attitudes, and beliefs about food and about themselves. So if you read the phrases that help, you could say, this is a kiwi, it's sweet like a strawberry, or these radishes are very crunchy. And in this example, the phrases point out the sensory qualities of food and encourages your child to try the new food. In row 2, phrases that hinder, you're such a big girl, you finished all your peas. Jenny, look at your sister, she ate all her bananas. You have to take one more bite before you leave the table. So in these examples, these phrases teach your children to ignore fullness. In this, it's not allowing them to rely on their own bodies, to know whether they're full or not. But instead, you could say, is your tummy telling you that you're full? Is your stomach still making its hungry growling noises? Has your tummy had enough? And this teaches your child to recognize when he or she is full, which can prevent overeating. And the hinder phrases in row 3, see, that didn't taste that bad, did it? This phrase implies that your child was wrong to refuse the food, which can lead to unhealthy attitudes about food or themselves. Instead, you could say, did you like that? Which one was your favorite? Or everybody likes different foods, don't they? And this can help your child feel like he or she is making choices and shifts the focus towards the taste of the food rather than who was right or wrong. And in row 4, the hinder phrases are no dessert until you eat your vegetables, or stop crying, and I'll give you a cookie. These phrases use food as a reward for finishing. This can make other foods like vegetables seem unappealing. Getting a food treat when upset teaches your child to eat to feel better. And this can lead to overeating. But instead we can say, we can try these vegetables again another time. Next time, would you like to try them raw instead of cooked? I'm sorry that you're sad. Come here and let me give you a big hug. In this example, the phrases help children with attention and kind words. They show love by spending time and having fun together instead of using food. Does anybody have any questions about these? All right, we're going to move on. Our next goal is to give you information about healthy foods that are available as part of the WIC program. We're going to send out a link to this Wic Shopping guide. It's like 10 pages and it's printed on the front and the back. I've taken snippets of it when we talk about these foods. So get to my page here. And this is just the front of the brochure, and on the back of it, there's a website and a 1-800 number that you can, if you're not on WIC, then if you want to apply, you can call that number or go to that website, and it's let's see, it is, I did on my thing. Sorry, it is www.wicworks.ca.gov. That's wicworks.ca.gov. And the phone number is 1-800-852-5770 if you want to apply. But they give you this brochure and it's got a lot of good information on it. We're going to go through and talk about the different food groups that they talk about. It gives you healthy eating strategies, weekly grocery shopping tips, It's an authorized food shopping list. If you're enrolled in WIC, it'll tell you what you can purchase and what you can't purchase with the WIC check. And it's just all around good information. So you don't, if you're not on WIC, that's fine. You can still use it to get some information. So I'm going to highlight some different areas. So if we go to the next slide, with whole grains, the shopping tips, the guide explains how to know if a food item is made out of whole grain. If an item is made with whole wheat flour, the packing must say 100% whole wheat, as in the picture on the loaf of bread. You'll see that on the next slide. Another place to look is the ingredient list. The first ingredient should read whole wheat flour. So always look for 100% whole wheat when buying breads and tortillas. So the next slide is the actual page, and I know it's really small, it's hard to see, but it'll give you different tips, and then of course there's the cannot buy there section. WIC has specific things that you can buy and what you can't buy, so it's very specific, and it'll tell you on that. So we're going to go to the no sugar added. It's important that you do not buy foods with added sugar, like some juices, canned fruits, frozen fruits, or dried fruits. Vegetables that are in a sauce have added sugar. However, you can buy fruits and vegetables without added sugar. You just have to look for them. Avoid added sugar. Look for the ingredient list. Look for the ingredient list on the food nutrition label. And then remember, we talked about sugar before. Anything that ends in OUSE, OS, like fructose and glucose. There's other names there that they come in. Keep in mind, and I've already talked about this, but the cannot buy list throughout the booklet doesn't mean that you cannot eat these things. Just remember that you can't buy them with the WIC checks. Most things under the cannot buy list are usually less healthy, but some organic foods are listed under there too. But that doesn't mean that organic is not healthy. It's just not covered by the WIC program. All right, and then I'm going to go to the next slide. It'll tell you, this is a list of all the different names for sugar. Agave, it's hard for me to read. Brown sugar, cane syrup, corn syrup, dextrose, glucose, fructose, honey, maltodextrin, maltose, maple sugar, molasses, all different kinds of names for sugar. So you need to be aware of those. And then there's artificial flavor sugars as well. And they say to avoid those. Those aren't good for you either. So that's just the snippet from the brochure. So we're going to go to the next one, is all about breakfast cereals. So WIC recommends purchasing breakfast cereals that are low in sugar, made mostly with whole grains, and provide a good source of iron. Remember, they add, for cereals, they fortify them. That means they add nutrients back into them. Take a look at the cereal guide cereal list, and see if you see any of the breakfast cereals that are in the brochure. So we're going to go to the next page. And these are all the cereals on this side, on the left side, that you can eat, even on the right side. So Cheerios, the Kix, Total, Life cereals, the mini wheats, the Post bran flakes, and then over on the other side, the Kellogg's cornflakes and the Special K, you can eat those, and then the Honey Bunches of Oats, malto meal, and then they've got the list down there that you cannot buy. They don't recommend you eating grits or other brands flavored, like with cereal. Basically, it's cereal. They do allow oatmeal though. Okay. So, are there any questions so far? I know I'm going rather quickly, but I want to make sure there's enough time for Sharon and her parenting skills. The last one is juice, and this is a biggie. Remember, it's better for them to have the orange rather than the glass of orange juice. But the guide recommends that you look for juices that say 100% juice on the label. You should find this in the phrase right on the front of the label. or above the nutrition label. Remember, children under the age of 2 should not be drinking any juice at all. Children between the ages of 2 and 6 should not drink more than 4 ounces of juice a day. You can also dilute juice with water, and children do not need juice if they're eating a well-balanced diet. Milk and water are good sources, good choices, and that's really all they need if they're eating well, balanced. Anybody have any questions so far?
My kids won't drink milk like at all. Ever since they got the bottle, they just will not drink milk.
Okay. As long as they're getting their calcium from other sources, I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, humans are really the only, we're the only people, animals don't, once they're weaned from their mother, they don't eat milk anymore. They eat, whatever they eat, depending on the animal. I mean, we're the only ones that continue to eat, drink milk after we're weaned, right? But there are other sources of calcium out there. You just have to make sure that you read labels and make sure that they're getting enough calcium, just because they're growing so fast and their bones need that calcium. And they also need vitamin D. Vitamin D can't be absorbed unless they get the vitamin C. So I would talk to your pediatrician just to make sure, check with them and make sure that they're, I don't know, they have those growing charts, make sure that they're in the right percentile of their growth so that you can know that they're growing steadily. But as long as they're getting their calcium from other sources, I mean, milk isn't the only place to get calcium. If they're eating cheeses and their fresh fruits and vegetables, they should be getting enough. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, a lot of people don't do milk after, and that's okay, as long as you're getting your calcium. This is just, the next slide is just about the bottled juices and concentrates. So it just says 100, they really want you just to drink 100% juice with no added sugar. The last thing that we're going to talk about is my snack. So now that you have a few healthy shopping tips from Wic, we're going to talk about how you can prepare snacks for your child. A healthy morning snack and an afternoon snack are very important to keep your child satisfied and their energy levels stable throughout the day. Excuse me. A healthy snack should contain appropriate portion-sized foods from 2 of the 5 food groups. Remember, the 5 food groups are fruits, vegetables, dairy, protein, and grains. So handout 3 is the snack ideas for children, shows different food group combinations for healthy snacks and gives you a few snack ideas. A few additional tips for smart snacking is serve snacks on smaller plates, and a snack should be less than half the size of a regular meal. Okay, so on your, let me get to that page. Where's my snack page? That's my activity page. Oh, I was in the parent handouts. I think you guys got a special handout, parent handout. Oh, there. No, that's not it. There it is on the back of this. So it'll tell you on your handout 3, you can do a half of a cup of berries and a string cheese, or a half of a cup of fruit veggie sticks with some hummus. They say grains and dairies go well together. So hummus on a whole wheat of bread, or a half a cup of milk, a half a cup of low-fat Greek yogurt, or a half a cup of low-fat and low-sugar granola. Or a small apple with some sweet potato fries, or graham crackers and mashed bananas. So those are just some ideas for you. Okay? Does anybody have any questions so far, or about anything that I've discussed or mentioned? No? You guys are all good? Does it all sound good? All right, we're going to go to our next challenge then. Challenge number 1, use the Wic Authorized Food Shopping List Guide to buy at least one healthy item. Pick something new and healthy that you want your family to try. Thanks, I lost my spot. I will send you the link to the brochure. I think you can download it on your phone. I think there's, so I will send you the link and you can do it and look through it, so that you can have it. And it's updated, it was just updated in April, so I don't think they do it every year, but they do update it occasionally, so keep that in mind. Let's see, or the second challenge is, let's see, get to this one. Ready, Challenge 2, pick a strategy for increasing your child's eating of healthy foods. Offer a vegetable not traditionally liked by your child, a couple of days in a row, eating it in front of them, and using the phrases that help, that we talked about in handout 2. So you can always also use the snack ideas that we gave you on handout 3. So you have 2 challenges to pick from this week. Use the shopping list to go shopping, pick a new food, or to pick a strategy for increasing your child's eating of a healthy food. Okay, so we're gonna check back with you next week and see how that goes. So if there's no other further questions about the food nutrition part of the workshop, I'm gonna hand this over to Sarah.
So being physically active helps your child learn healthy habits. Healthy benefits include helping bone growth through running and jumping. And then developmental benefits include children feeling good or proud after learning a new skill, such as bouncing a ball or riding a bike. So we have 2 exercises this week. Exercise 1 is knee taps. It's the adult exercise, or it can be done with children ages 4 to 5. And then exercise number 2 is grab some grapes, and this is the child exercise. I'm going to show you the video. Good morning. I'm going to show you the 2. The first one is the adult exercise. You guys look so 5. Basically, tiny, or they call it knee tap. So you're going to put your arms out, and then you're going to do the right jog. Try to reach your knees up to your hands, or you can do the modified where you just bring it up into the arm like this. That for 12 reps on each side, and then rest for 12 seconds. Then do another 12 reps, and you can do that as many times as you'd like. Second exercise is the child exercise. It is called grab some grapes. So the child are going to start with their feet together, hands at their sides. And then step to the right, and then bring their feet together, step to the left, their feet together, and then when they're good with that, then they're going to step to the right, and reach to the right, and then step together, step to the left, and step together. And then they can do that as many times as they. Does anybody have any questions about the exercises? And then we'll move on to Sharon with the parenting portion.
All right, welcome back, parents. I'm excited that some of you made it back this week. It's great to see you. How did your week go? Did you have any successes or challenges that you want to share with the group? With the planning of your routine for your family?
Good morning. Yes, I did. Morning routine, and I didn't help because I was before. Now getting better.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. We're going to talk more about planning for the week this week. Before we were talking about planning for the day, but we're going to do a little more planning for your family to see how that helps your family and help you get more relaxed and not feel so stressed. Because I know that when you're rushing around, it can be very stressful. Trying to get to work on time or trying to get the kids to school on time, that can be really stressful. All right, did anyone else want to share about any successes or challenges they had with the schedules? If
I
not,
think I'm the
we
one that
will.
has more of an issue with sticking to a routine just because things are kind of like all over the place. So
Uh-huh.
I really need to work on that myself because I get distracted
Yeah.
really easily.
Yeah. I know one of my daughters has a real problem with trying to get organized and get all the kids out of the house. And while I've been doing this, I can see so much that would help her. So I'm going to for sure bring it up to her. So, all right, we're going to talk about last week's challenge. Remember last week we were discussing how to follow the morning routine and the evening routine and how it can help your family by reducing stress and making healthy eating and exercise as part of your daily routine. Our Parenting Healthy Challenge had 2 parts. Part 1 was to try a morning routine at least one day that included activities such as having yourself get showered, dressed, and preparing breakfast for your children before they wake up. The other part was preparing lunches and for your children for daycare or for school, and setting the breakfast table and helping the children choose appropriate clothing and putting all the items that they need for the day together the night before, so they're already ready to go the next morning. Who was able to? Okay, we already talked about that. So who was able to follow that little routine? Did anyone have any other successes they want to talk about? I mean, we kind of did already.
Yeah, Laura said she tried to do the challenge of getting ready and make breakfast
That's amazing.
before she woke up, but she was only able to do it for 2 days.
Okay, I think it does make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I could really see that. I know I make all my husband's food before he goes to work and before he wakes up, so that works for me too. All right, so, and then the other one was the nighttime routine, and we kind of talked about that. That's a good thing to try too, because I know when I have all my things prepared the night before, that really helps. And then try an evening routine that where you turn the TV off during dinner, and then you don't talk on the phone, and then have conversations with your family. That'll go a long way to bringing the family together and having time with them. Encourage your children to try new foods and do not force them to eat. And then set up the sleep routine with the bath, and everyone will gradually settle down to be ready to go to sleep. I think when we do the same things every day, even in preschool, when they try to do like a routine, it really helps the kids settle in and feel comfortable in their environment. All right, so we're going to move on to the next slide. All right, we just talked about strategies for healthy eating, healthy snacks, and shopping tips. We've also just reviewed our attempts at creating healthy morning and evening routine. Our parenting topic this week is how to create healthy weekly routines to make sure we incorporate regular physical activity and healthy eating into our family life. Before we discuss weekly routines, let's discuss a few of the problems and solutions that may come up around routine. So does waking up, here's the problem, waking up. Child does not get up in the morning when parent tells the child to get up. So for some people that could be a problem. I know for my daughter it is.
That was my problem with my kid.
So here are some of the causes. Parent may not be supervising children as they go through the routine of waking up. They go in, they wake up the child, and then they just leave right away thinking that the child's going to get out of bed. But sometimes they don't, they just go right back to sleep. So a solution to that problem might be parents should wait by the child's bedside until the child has gotten out of bed and is on their way to the next event in the schedule. Parents should try to get everything done for himself before they wake the child. Another way would put parents' routine before the child's routine, like taking showers and getting things ready the night before. All right, another problem number 2 is timing. Child does not finish all the steps in time. So you give your child steps that they need to do, such as getting out of bed, getting in the shower, or brushing their teeth, or getting dressed, and they may not finish because things are in their way. So here's the cause. Parent may not be allowing enough time for each step, or did not follow suggestions on the giving commands that work handout. Remember, we gave that giving commands handout a couple weeks ago. The parent did not repeat the command. So remember how we were talking about, it's time for you to go brush your teeth. And then the child gives you a comeback. Oh, I don't want to brush my teeth. It's time for you to go brush your teeth. So sometimes you have to repeat it several times until they give in and just go do what you ask them. Because that usually works. So if the parent used commands effectively, followed up, and the child complied, but still took too much time, increase the time allotted for that step. So you just give them a little more time in their schedule to get that done. Review giving effective commands from, oh, I missed my spot there. There you go. Giving commands that work. Short commands to the child within 2 feet, looking them in the eye and waiting for compliance. Remember that from workshop 2? So you just need to be looking in their eyes and making sure they know that you mean what you say. All right, and other techniques for getting children out of bed after 2 commands are opening the blinds in the room, taking off the covers, or picking the child up out of bed, if they're not too heavy. All right, the next problem might be order. The child is taking too long to move from one location to another in consecutive steps. The order of the routine may be incorrect, or the routine may be too difficult for the child. Reorder the steps. This is the solution. Reorder the steps. For example, the current routine is child wakes up, child goes to the kitchen to eat breakfast, and then the child comes back to the bedroom to get dressed. And the other one is suggest that the parent change the routine order. Child wakes up, child gets dressed, and then goes to the kitchen to eat breakfast. You could try either way to see which one would work better for your child. We're going to go to the next slide because I had to continue it on to another slide. If the child is following the routine, we're still in the solution, but it's just taking a long time. Have the parent observe how the child is doing each step and what is taking him so long. Examples. Perhaps the child needs to learn a faster way to put their clothes or shoes on. Perhaps the step stool for the sink isn't there when the child has to go find it. I mean, there's probably some reasons why things are slow. It's not always just because they're slow. Next time, make sure the stool is already in the bathroom for them. And then remind parents that small things like this can take a longer time for a child because sometimes they don't have the skill to get it done quickly. So you might just have to allot more time. And then the last one is distraction. The child is taking too long to eat breakfast or doing very little eating. The cause is usually there is some distraction that keeps the child from focusing on eating. For example, the TV is on where the child is eating. The child is allowed to bring something to the table like a toy or a game or something, and that's distracting them from just eating. So the solution would be remove the distractions for breakfast time and be sure to keep the TV and other electronic devices off, especially when they have to get ready in the morning, because that's very distracting. Any questions about that? That was kind of long, sorry, but it was a lot of information for you. All right, we're going to move on to the next slide. So we're going to move into talking about how to incorporate both healthy eating and physical activity into your weekly schedule. We will discuss how to fill the day with scheduled activities, including, let me slide down. Including exercise. Parents should ideally schedule a child's exercise before, not immediately after meal times. And then working a child's exercise time into the parent's schedule is more important than letting the child decide when it is best. Fitting a child's exercise into your schedule as parent means it's more likely to happen, because if you're on board with it and you're prepared to like take a walk, or then you'll be more likely to make it happen. Okay, the second one is limiting screen time and chores, like grocery shopping and personal needs. Those are things that we all have to do. So those are some of the things that we have to do in our weekly routines. Just as setting up morning and evening routines builds time for healthy behavior, setting up routines for activities throughout the week gives the parents more time to prepare healthy meals and have their children exercise. A weekly schedule can help establish routines and include all types of activities, including exercise, nap times, grocery shopping, and even screen time. And so while we're talking about it, let's talk a little more about screen time. That's a very important distraction for our children and for us sometimes. What does screen time mean? Screen time includes TV, video games, computers, phones, tablets, and iPads. Doctors recommend no screen time before the age of 2 and no more. I'm sorry. Did you have something to say?
I just say screen is for, like, for example, or fun, TV.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, we'll come back to it. All right. Doctors recommend no screen time before the age of 2 and no more than 2 hours of screen time per day for 2-year-olds and over. The less screen time, the better. Less screen time has benefits, including more time for physical activity for you and your children, better brain development, less influence of unhealthy foods marketing from commercials and ads for junk foods and beverages. So a lot of times those TV programs your children watch are just full of commercials advertising sweetened cereals and juices and all that stuff. If your children watch television, the best choice is public television channels like PBS or something like that. They have a few, if any, commercials and tend to have better quality children's programming. You all remember Sesame Street? That was one of my favorite shows. It's still on.
Yeah.
Really good for kids. Tips for limiting screen time. Think about 1 or 2 programs or shows that your children, for your children as the most, 2 daily programs for your children as the most they will watch each day. So maybe not more than 1 or 2 little shows that they like daily. Turn the TV on at the beginning of these programs and hit the record button if you have a DVR, if you can record them. And then when you have them watch it later, you can fast forward through all the commercials and just miss them all together. Set up a timer to alert you when the program is over. That way you don't forget about it and they're just in there watching. And it's show after show. This way, if what they are watching is meaningful and helpful, and engage with your children about what they may be learning. So it's good for you to sit down with them and watch it so you can discuss what they're learning and kind of supervise their time. Okay, we're going to go on to the next slide. Does anyone have any questions so far about screen time or all that good stuff? All right. So now we're going to go into our activity section. Using handout number 4, setting up weekly routines, list on your own time. You don't have to do it right now, but list all of the activities that you have to do during the day of the week. So you're going to write down everything that you do on a daily basis throughout the week while your child is awake. So these are things that you do while your child is awake. Examples are listed at the top of the handout and include grocery and other shopping, your own physical activity, dropping off or picking up your child from childcare, taking your child to the park, making sure my child has between 1 and 2 hours per day of physical activity and play, and that could be in conjunction with your physical activity, giving my child naps, getting breakfast ready and eating it, getting lunch ready and eating it, getting snack ready and eating it, dinner, and getting my children ready for the morning, brushing teeth, dressing, and even time for preparing things for the next day. Giving my child a bath, getting my child to bed on time. There's a lot of things. We have a busy schedule, don't we? Cleaning my house, visiting with friends and family, and allow 5 minutes for parents to write down these things. Oh, this is like a note for myself, sorry. All right, so you can do that on your own time and then work out your schedule. And then you kind of spread it out and you kind of see how that's going to work out for you. Right, let me go to the next one. We're going to go on to our Parenting Healthy Family Challenge. This week I will try to. So if you look at handout 5, that's your schedule. My weekly schedule. You can use this handout to complete this week's challenge to create a weekly schedule for yourself. Under the time column, write the hours of the day that your children are awake. So you put the times 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Let's hope they're not awake at that time. Fill out the schedule with the events you have listed on handout 4. Setting up weekly routines. Some tips for saving time during the week are schedule grocery shopping when the grocery store is less crowded. Schedule your child's bath time close to bedtime to make it easier for the child to calm down and go to sleep, because that's very soothing. Schedule your child's nap time when you can get other things done, such as cleaning up or preparing meals. And make sure that you allow enough time for each event that you schedule, because you need to remember sometimes some things take a little longer than others, especially for children. If you need to cut back on one of those activities, choose watching TV as the first to go. Because we all know we love our TV, but it really does sometimes get in the way of things we need to do that are more important. So if you could do this week, we'll look forward to sharing with you next week on how everything went and how if your week was calmer and you felt less stress in your life. So let us know next week when we come back. All right, we're going to move on to Q&A.
All right, does anyone have any final questions or comments before we end the meeting?
It was a lot of information this week.
Yeah, it was a lot of.
If anyone needs anything that they didn't get in the packet too, that would help them, let us know. Because sometimes it's a lot to remember to take in. So we can always send you a link or send you a scan of something.
How many friends do we have, or yes, do we have at our meeting today, Sarah?
I think we have 5.
5, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and again, we're gonna send out the link to the shopping guide. So do that today too.
Yes, and then we'll send the feedback form also as well.
If you guys don't have any other further questions, then we're gonna let you go, and we know that you guys have parent-teacher conferences today, so enjoy that, and we will be back here next Wednesday at 9:30. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, have a
great
wonderful
day.
week.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you, you too.
All right, bye-bye.